All right, joining me is Ever Lopez. He's a professor here at Laredo College. Mr. Lopez, how are you? Good to meet
I'm
you.
doing pretty good, thank you.
What do you teach?
I teach history,
Okay.
1301, 1302.
Okay, is that a core course? Do students have to take that,
They are both core courses that students need to take.
regardless of what they're going to get a degree in?
Exactly. So as it is, it's already a challenge, right? So,
Yeah, nice. Okay, how long have you been a teacher?
Here in the Laredo College, 6 years. In total, 14 years.
14 years. When did you get started in teaching?
Uh, I think it was, 2010, 2011. I taught middle school, and then I was also a soccer coach, and then I moved over here.
What made you want to go into teaching?
Education has always been interesting to me. I've always wanted to learn, but also I always felt that there was something I could offer that of value to my city and to students in general. I felt like I'm very passionate about history, and I always felt like I could inspire some people to learn important lessons that we could all use in our day-to-day life.
What was it like teaching middle school?
It was a challenge. It's very, very different from teaching here at the college, but I liked it a lot. I think I gained a lot of experience. My times I taught at United South Middle and at Trauben Middle, I enjoyed them a lot, and I think they built me a lot as to what I became, right? But it's very different here in the college, but very interesting. I mean,
Yeah. What made you want to make the switch to the college level?
in general, when I finished my master's, I didn't finish it with the intention of coming to work in the college. But when I finished my master's, I felt like I was ready to take an extra step. Right? So I applied because the opportunity came up, but honestly, I didn't think I was going to get the job. I applied because the opportunity was there, but I mean, I think it's been one of the best decisions I ever made. I mean, working here at the Laredo College has been an incredible experience. It's very different from working in middle school, and here I feel like I have been able to grow not only as a professor, as an educator, but also, you know, as in my field, but also the relationship with students is different, and
Sure.
I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it a lot.
That's good to hear. What is it specifically like about Laredo College, you think?
In general, the community. I mean, I guess because of born and raised in Laredo, the people of the Laredo College are usually from our community, and I like the interaction that we have. Also with my coworkers, it's always been from day one. It's been amazing. I mean, they've been very supportive because coming from the middle school to over here, it's different, right?
Yeah, a little
Um,
bit.
So my coworkers have always been a great support to me.
Yeah.
In anything I've been needing, be it support, educational, academic, how to navigate around everything, whatever it has been. It's been incredible to have a group of coworkers that very soon I consider my friends. So it was great. Not that in the middle school it wasn't.
Right,
like
no,
that,
I get you. I get you.
but here the switch was a little bit scary, I guess,
Sure.
because I was used to working in the middle school, very comfortable, and then making the switch, it was a challenge. It was a little bit scary, but I felt that was the natural move for me,
Yeah.
and I've never looked back. I never regretted it.
On so many levels, there's differences between the middle school
Yes.
and the college environment. Why history?
And you know what? I studied teaching math.
Really?
That's what I started because my bachelor is in business administration. So initially I started teaching math, but I've always been extremely passionate about history. History as a hobby is extremely interesting. As a hobby, history is, you don't finish your hobby. It's always new things, interesting. And I was teaching math because I'm good with numbers, but what I'm passionate about is history. So when I had the opportunity to do my master's, I wanted to do something that I'm passionate
Sure.
and that I could spend time reading and reading and reading and reading and not get tired, and writing and writing and writing and not get tired. So history was the natural move for me, and I've always been very passionate. I mean, anything history, and my wife needs to like deal with all this with me because everything I make it about history.
Yeah.
So it was just a natural move for me, and history is just something that I'm very passionate. I feel like there's a lot of lessons to be learned about history. Relevancy to today is not just interesting, but it's also relevant. And I feel like aside from it being a very interesting hobby, there's a lot of lessons to be learned about. I mean, extremely relevant to today that, every day or every semester, I change the course because I bring the relevancy to it. And then, the times change and I need to make it relevant again. And so many different levels. So it's always challenging. It's always interesting. So you never get bored.
Are you like the tour guide when you're in the car with your wife, telling her about every building and back in 1934, is that you sometimes?
Sometimes. I try not to, but it's just kind of like,
That's you.
I figure it's interesting, but I guess it's not, right?
Well, to some people it might not be, but that's
Yeah,
okay. What is there a specific event in history or specific something in history that you like to focus on? I know you like all history, but something in particular?
Something that I feel that I wouldn't call my expert on anything, but that I feel that I'm very passionate, that I can talk a lot about, either the conquest of the Americas, Civil War, Constitution, Declaration of Independence, World War II. I think everyone likes World War II. I think those four, in general, Mexican American history, those are things that I think I can always talk about. I can go on hours and hours
Sure.
and hours.
But do you think that your students catch on to that passion that you bring to the classroom?
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
I think I'm always very happy, and I just ran into a student who told me, who had my class a couple semesters ago, and he just told me like, hey, I just want to tell you that your class, he said, left an impression. I don't know if positive or negative.
Yeah, you're like, well, I'll take it.
I hope
I'm sure
it was positive.
positive.
I sure hope so. But yeah, I mean, I usually get positive feedback, and I have a lot of students who repeated. They do 1301 with me. They'll do 1302. So I'm taking it as they like the class.
Well, I'm sure they have to feel that passion if you have it for history. They've got to sense that. What do you think formed you as a teacher, specifically? A specific event, or maybe it's not a specific event. Is it your upbringing? Is it your family?
I think a couple things. My dad was very passionate about history. He loved history, and I think from a very early age, my dad talking about World War II, or talking about Mexican Revolution, or talking about anything history, always left that impression on me to like just be passionate about history.
Yeah.
I always was curious about things and events and people, and as I grew up, I mean, I studied business administration, but I always liked history. That was what I truly like. I was studying business administration, but all my books were history. So I probably should have graduated history rather than, but
Doesn't matter. You're here now.
Yeah,
That's
I was
what
a little
matters.
bit younger and not a lot of guidance in life, right? But
Sure.
yeah.
Well, but you figured it out. What do you think your teaching style is like?
I usually like to bring relevant topics to life. So for example, when I was in high school or middle school, and I really liked history, but I felt like there was a bit of a, and this is not a knock on teachers or anything, but a lot of the times when I taught in the middle school too, like we go very fast over things because we're in the crunch of time.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that we need to cover. So the two things that I always kind of like disliked about it was teachers focusing on facts and dates and go like, this is history and it's facts and dates, and that's all it matters. And to me, it's kind of like, not really. It's the bare bones. Facts and dates are bare bones. Then you need to have the interpretation, the relevance, and all different things. Knowing facts and dates without the significance of it, it's kind of like, why do I need to know about this, right? And the other one is kind of like there's a lot of information in history that we're kind of not forced, but they tell us that we need to teach. And it's so many things that you need to make it relevant. And especially for newer generations with a shorter attention span, you can't just be talking for an hour.
Yeah.
So you need to make it interesting. You need to make it relevant. You need to show the significance of it. So you need to do a lot of things at the same time. And I would say that my style is usually disregarding facts, not disregarding, but that's the bare bones.
Yeah.
And usually the way I tell students, if I tell you something here, you need to know that it's because it's important. There's relevance to it. In other words, why are we here today? Right? Like you could be anywhere, but you're here in college talking about, the revolution or the Civil War. But why?
Yeah.
Right? So we need to learn about why it's important, what is relevant. So I usually focus a lot on relevance. Why is this important?
How would you describe the typical Laredo College student?
They have a lot of heart. That's what I would say. A lot of them have, a lot of, they always try. They have a lot of drive, right? So they always, try to make the best out of it. They always, at least the ones that I've gotten the last years, students always, come to class with the best intention. Now, I know history is not for everyone, so, but what I mean to say that they have heart is because what I tell them at the beginning is, I know you're kind of not here because you love history.
Yeah.
And that's what I meant at the beginning. It's a challenge on its own that you have to be here. So I need to explain to you why you're here and the relevance of it, right? So they may not love history, but they're here because they know the significance of it, the importance of it. They want to get ahead of life. They know that college is going to require them to take this class. And, these are students that, want to get ahead in life. And they're here to, to make the best out of it.
Do you find teaching history, do you find it rewarding?
Very, very. And in the summer or when there's no classes, I feel like I need to talk to someone about history. like I need someone to talk to, right? Because I usually get my, my time with the students and we talk, and I love having discussions and all the different things. So at home, I mean, there's no one to do it, right? So yeah, to me, it's very rewarding too.
Yeah. Do you watch a lot of History Channel and things like that? Or is it more research?
I don't have a lot of time anymore, but I used to.
During the summer, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I like to watch a lot of historical series. A lot of it is research and books, but there does come a little burnout with it. That sometimes it's kind of like, it can't all be research.
Yeah.
It can't all be historical books. So then I do a little bit of just for fun history again. Like I said, history as a hobby is super fun. So
I was going to ask you, what do you do for fun? But you kind of answered that. What do you do for fun that's not history?
I watch a lot of soccer.
Oh, okay.
I haven't for a while, but I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and
Glad you told me that.
yeah. So those two things, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was my main hobby for a long time before I didn't have time for it anymore.
Yeah.
But that one, soccer, sort of my two things.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite movie?
The Godfather.
Really?
The Godfather.
I can watch The Godfather every time it's on. Like if I'm flipping channels and it's on, I'm gonna watch it.
I think it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
It's super quotable. I don't know. It's just there's something to it, right?
Yeah, and yet Godfather 2 won more awards, didn't it?
Well, yeah. Well, I would say Godfather 2 is better than Godfather 1.
Well, that's what a lot of people say. That's why
Yeah,
a lot of awards. But
I mean, yeah. I don't know. There's something to it, right?
they're just
Yeah,
masterpieces.
not Godfather 3, but 2
Yeah,
and
no,
1.
we could forget about that.
I don't consider it part of the saga. To be honest, to me, it's 1 and 2, and yeah, the same thing to me. And I'm not kidding. I'm bored. Maybe at that time I'm gonna put The Godfather.
Yeah.
And I could just watch it.
Does that carry over to other mob movies or not really? Because I like The Sopranos too.
You know what? I never watched Sopranos.
Really? You're missing out.
Yeah, and people
I know you don't
told
have
me
time, but
that.
just saying.
But Goodfellas, I love.
Yeah,
I love
that's a good movie. Yeah.
Goodfellas. Casino. Carlitos Way.
So you have
I'm sure I'm missing a whole bunch of
interests
them. Yeah,
other
yeah.
than history. So we had to draw them out of you.
Yeah,
But
I love movies.
Yeah.
I love movies. That you know what? That would be my other hobby.
really,
Movies. Yeah.
if you wouldn't have become a teacher, what would you have done?
That's a great question. I don't know. I have no idea. Hopefully
Math
moving
teacher, maybe? Business, gone into business?
probably it would have to do something with business,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I mean, I see myself teaching.
Yeah.
That's what I see
You
myself
are a
doing.
teacher.
And even the idea of administration to me is kind of like I want to be in the classroom.
Yeah.
I really want to be in the classroom.
Yeah, well, administration's a whole other
Yeah.
deal. So
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for that.
Sure.
For my chair, for the dean, for the provost. That is a whole different level that it's not for me.
yeah.
It's really not.
Evan, final question. What would you tell a student who is going to come into your class? What can they expect?
You can expect that I'm gonna try to make history come to life as much as possible. I'm gonna try to make it relevant in the any way that I can find possible. I'm gonna try to switch it up to not be just the traditional teacher, the open up the book and read.
Yeah.
It's gonna be mostly about relevance. It's gonna be mostly about what matters in history, lessons to learn, and I'm gonna try to challenge you. Challenge you in the way of critical thinking. Um, forget about your traditional multiple choice, but challenge you in the sense of like understand why this matters, and hopefully you can gain something of value out of it.
Sounds good. Evan, thank you very much for your
Hey,
time.
thank
Appreciate
you.
it.